So this is Distress Call, and this is a fun little battle. I end up getting 6-1. I lose 760 men and kill 4,800 of the enemy, almost 5,000. So yeah, the first part of this will be at double speed because it's all maneuver. And I move the supply wagon to the rear because the artillery is going to come in as reinforcements. I'm going to use one of the Allied infantry and two of the skirmishers, I think both skirmishers and the cav, to go up to the northeast corner of the board because that's where the enemy is going to try to cross, and I want to catch them in the water. So there's a nice wooded hill, and the enemy has to cross water and then go up a steep hill. And that is a huge buff when you're firing downhill. He'll have zero cover in the water, and I'll have huge cover in the trees. So it's absolutely perfect position to fight from. And what I'm counting on is that the little scruffy force I leave behind is going to be more than enough to hold the southern objective. If I lose the southern objective, I think the enemy only has to hold it for 20 minutes in game, and then if that happens, then you lose the battle. So yeah, I was a little slow getting the skirmisher unit to the south moving, but that's okay. We all get there. So he has troops coming in um, the northwest, the north center, and the northeast. And yeah, it's important to know where the enemy troops come in so you can identify one of them and annihilate them. And I decide to annihilate the guys coming across the water. I really like to get on high ground and fire downhill at enemy units in the water. It's a huge advantage. So my reinforcements come in, and all I need them to do is just mark time. I want to focus entirely on the northeast corner and only get involved um, with the main enemy force in the rest of the map after this has been dealt with. So the enemy might be passive, waiting for its reinforcements to come in. I'm kind of hoping that's the case. I'm also, the only downside about this position is I don't have any artillery. I didn't move any artillery over there. As you can see, my artillery is just now coming in. And I think about moving artillery over there, but I don't do it. I actually could have. I had time to move artillery over there, but it turns out I didn't need it. So I try to aggro the enemy. I try to get them to attack, knowing that the enemy always attacks skirmisher units, cav, detached skirmishers. I try to get the enemy to attack. I think I made a mistake putting my infantry. I should have kept my infantry hidden. But what I'm doing here is I'm trying to get him to attack, and it's not going to work. What works is when I back everybody off and I have everybody in a hidden status. You see the little marker above the units. And that'll happen in a couple of minutes. I finally give up on trying to get him to just charge across the water, and I back off and hide all my units, which is what I should have done at first. Just brought everyone over, made sure everybody was hidden, and wait for him to make his move across the water. But I'm trying to get... I figure that the AI always charges skirmishers, and he's just not doing it. So everyone's getting a really nice kill ratio, but that's really not the goal. The goal is to wipe the enemy force out and capture the supplies. I intend for these guys to all resupply using the enemy's resupply. And yeah, this is, everything's going okay, but not really what I wanted. So I'm going to back everybody off and get them out of range and out of sight, and you'll see the little marker little red marker pop up, and I'll just let everybody get hidden, have everybody fall back and get hidden, and hopefully that'll make a difference. So I'm hitting the F key to get everybody just to fall back, and then having them stop, and hopefully that'll get the enemy to advance. So I'm going to give him a couple minutes, and that does. Once my units are out of sight, then he'll come over, and you can see that right at the crossing. On the other side, my side of the crossing, is there's no cover. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack right away when the enemy comes into the water, but I think it's better actually to let them come over into the hill. Then you get to fire into them, and then when they retreat into the water, you can really do massive damage because they're routing and in the water, and it still takes forever for them to cross, back across. So while this does a lot of damage to this unit, I should have probably waited until maybe the unit was halfway up the hill, and maybe the second unit would have been in the water. It might have paid off. So anyway, he's going to get, I mean, he's going to get thumped. So this is the beginning of things going very badly for the AI and things going very good for me, because I can do this all day. Okay, the first unit has been really damaged, and the unit I'm firing at now doesn't seem to have any cover either. But that's not what I want to do. I want to catch these guys in the water, so we're just going to do this again. We're going to back up, and hopefully, you know, hopefully he'll make some kind of a move across the water again. Now, really, the AI has to come across that water. His objectives are the 2 victory locations, and he can't just sit there and wait. So there's not much happening here on this side, and I think maybe I am willing to aggravate the enemy a little bit and get them to maybe poke at them a little bit and see if I can get them to attack. And the only thing worth firing with is the 10-pounders. The 10-pound ord. The 6-pounders, you'd never want to fire them that distance. They're not going to do anything. Waste of ammo. So yeah, knowing how much the enemy hates detached skirmishers, fire a shot and back up. That's got to send a signal to the AI to attack. I can't believe that, you know, because any other time the AI sees a detached skirmisher and just charges. That is one big difference between Brigadier General and Major General. The AI is a lot more aggressive on Major General. So if you want the enemy to charge at you all the time and stand and fight to the death, then play Major General. And I say that's actually a good thing. It's easy to get a high kill ratio if you don't have to chase the enemy. The enemy comes right to you, and you can just do enormous damage to the enemy. Particularly, you set up a good defensive position like I have right here. You don't have to wait like this for the enemy on Major General. He comes charging right now, all the time. Very aggressive, very strong, and on Major General, the enemy wouldn't take a couple shots and then retreat. He'd stand there and fight to the death, which actually is very good. This would be a much faster and easier battle. It's what I want him to do in this case, but he's going to actually take a couple shots. Notice I have like 4 units, and this is what I like to do, just gang up on a single unit, break it, and then gang up on another unit, break it. And of course you get pass-through fire too, so the volleys that I'm sending into the lead unit, some of that damage should pass through to the second unit, the units behind as well. So, and I'm right on them, so the reason I'm this close is the 42s have a max effective range that's very short, so they're getting maximum damage when they're right in the face of the enemy. So yeah, we should be doing very, very good damage to these guys. On the right, I'm actually looking for better cover. My unit on the, as you look at the map, the right wasn't getting very good cover. So this guy is charging in, and he's getting hit by all kinds of units. He doesn't seem to want to stop, so I'm going to have the one unit fall back, and then I'm going to have a unit race in behind him, and then I'm going to have all kinds of units firing into this guy. But yeah, the units, the enemy units at the beginning of the battle, before they get hit, they have really high morale, really a lot of speed, and they're very deadly. So that it took a lot of hits for that guy to break. But that's what you have to do as the North. You have to gang up on an individual unit and break it with, like, your whole army. Set up kill zones, lots of artillery support. Because one-on-one, if I'd fought him one-on-one with an equal-sized unit, even a one-star unit, he'd have won. He'd have won that melee. But 5-1 with 2 artillery in support, yeah, that's how you win. Those enemy units do not like canister fire. Okay, this is a really good position right here. I'm leaving him plenty of room to move into, but now he can't take as many hits before he routs. He's had his morale damaged. He's had his condition set lower. I've killed his leader, so he's not going to recover very quickly, if at all. And yeah, there's like a permanent debuff to these units once they've been degraded. So now these are degraded units, and it doesn't take much to get them to rout now. They're pretty fragile. Not anywhere near as tough as they were in the beginning, or as tough as that last unit that attacked my entire army on the left. As strong as that guy was. So these guys have been hurt, and they're acting like hurt units. And I'm still hitting them like 4-1. 4 units piling up on 1. So yeah, this is going really well. He's not going to be able to take a lot more of this. Okay, somebody's coming in from the charge. I always keep an eye on the strategic map. Most people don't, but I'm keeping an eye on the strategic map. Things are going well on the other flank. He's just moving into a nice position to die. I can see that. And I have no concerns about this first unit, because my units are in the woods and artillery is there in support. But if he attacks with all 3 of those units, this could be tough. And I'm kind of surprised he does, because that's the right play. The right play is to attack with all 3 units. And got the first one to rout, but my artillery is a little close to the line. So what I do is I take one of my green units and have them charge, and that makes the unit stop charging. And then 3 units and an artillery are going to fire at close range into this guy and rout him. And I got him to stop moving forward because that green unit just went on the attack. So that worked out. And I get out of melee by popping a skirmisher unit, and then I can have the skirmisher unit fold back into the parent unit. And yeah, and it's all good. So now there's only one more unit to get to route, and that shouldn't be a big deal. These units can just keep marching into this kill zone that I've created. And yeah, I'm in great cover. I have plenty of, well, I have enough ammo, not plenty. But I plan on capturing his supply wagon and fixing that. And his units are getting really, really near shattering. Yeah, this couldn't be going better. This is just great. He's at the bottom of the hill, just getting torn apart. If he retreats, he's going to retreat into water, and things are going to be even worse. So, yeah. Just want to keep the pressure on until these units shatter, and that shouldn't be much longer. That was 2 units taken out very quickly. Now if we can take this third one out. Yeah, I've slowed things down so that I can really micromanage the destruction of these units and make sure that every volley is doing as much damage to the unit that I want as possible. And I have the battle going on both sides. Things can go really badly, really quickly on either side. I'm particularly concerned about his cav running around, and when I'm not paying attention, getting behind my lines and attacking my artillery. That would be a disaster. Or, you know, getting in melee with one of my core units. So, yeah, I don't want any of that to happen. I don't want anything to go out of control at this point. Yep, and that's another unit down. Now, his last unit is so small, all I need to do is hit it with some detached skirmishers. I still don't want to take any canister to the face, so detached skirmishers are perfect. Detached skirmishers in the woods. That tiny unit, even if it fires canister, isn't going to do any real damage, and it's going to shatter if it takes any kind of a hit at all. Wouldn't mind capturing it. Yeah, these units have plenty of condition. They can actually charge. I don't want my cav to take a shot, though. And cav charging in the woods is not that great. So, yeah, I'm charging with detached skirmishers. They'll do fine in the woods. And back it up with infantry. And gone. So at this point, I'm just going to have the cav snag the supply wagon, resupply these guys, and then reposition for an attack on the northern fort. The enemy's position is hopeless. So move all the guys in the south kind of to the left, and all the guys in the north are going to come around and take the wood line to the north, as you can see. Anytime the enemy advances, they just get hit with infantry and artillery support. His cav tries to get something going, but all they do is end up taking some losses. And I just form like a half circle around the fort and hit the units inside from all directions. So they get hit front, flank, and rear, and pretty hopeless. And Yeah, that's why I only take about just over 700, well, 768 casualties in the battle, and the enemy loses 4,800. It's doing things like this. And I'm pushing the artillery up as fast as it'll move to get in support. It's a good idea to use the victory locations as bait, so I want him to keep moving his army into the victory location to hold it. Yeah, it's a perfect place for me to set up a kill zone. I particularly want my artillery to be as close as possible, firing canister into his army. It's a lot harder when my artillery has to chase after his retreating infantry and cav. But if he keeps moving into my canister range and my firing range, then my units will stay fresh and his units will get lower and lower condition and lower morale. So yeah, this is going just absolutely great. And all I have to do is make sure he doesn't sneak in. Now, the AI will always try to sneak in and take any victory location that is not occupied. That's a guarantee. So if I didn't have somebody in the fort to the south, that's where his cav would go, almost certainly. That's just a thing the AI automatically does. So yeah, at this point, I think the AI has figured out that holding the fort is pretty impossible, and the last infantry is about to rout. I'm just taking my time, just moving the artillery up and letting the artillery blast away, combined with the infantry and skirmishers. And yeah, if I had snipers, they'd be taking long-range shots. And fast forward a little bit, the enemy ends up in the corner, and we end up killing them all. So, but I don't rush. I just go forward and kill them all. So here are the final result. It's a good battle, good result, and most importantly, the enemy is ready to go into camp and get buffed up for the next battle. We're in great shape. We went in with a lot of cash. We're going to come out with a lot more cash. We have plenty of men, plenty of money, plenty of reputation. Everything is going really well, and I'll see you in camp. Thanks.